So I picked up this golf cart behind me the other day, and they bought it off, you know, the previous owner put turn signals in it, headlights, the whole 9 yards. So he bought a kit, and the problem with it is when you put the turn signal on the right, it would go to the left, and if you put the turn signal on the left, it would go to the right. So the previous owner didn't know how to fix it. So I pulled it into the driveway, and I had it fixed in about 10 minutes. I'll explain to you guys what I did. I've noticed like there was a lot of threads on the internet. Hey, my golf cart, you know, turn signals are opposite from the way I ran the wiring. I'll explain a few things to you. So watch the video all the way to the end. So I'm going to kind of show you a few tips and you know, things that we've wired through hot rods and stuff like that. There's ways to wire things so you have more room and things like that. So let's dive into this thing and we'll hop into it. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and subscribe to all of our notifications. That way you'll get a heads up when we upload a new video. So I'm going to come over here and I'll explain to you guys what was going on. So I'm sorry, but I didn't put this turn signal system in. This is what it looks like. I don't know exactly what brand it is. I don't see anywhere that it says, but here's what it looks like. My guess is it was bought on the internet. There has to be only a few, you know, of these kicking around out there that should more likely be the same from a few different manufacturers. So what was happening was when I put the turn signal onto the right, it would go to the left and vice versa. And the hazards worked, you know, fine. So I went under the thing, and my initial thought was, hey, the thing's just wired wrong. So I went under the golf cart right here, and on this particular kit, and I'm sure that a lot of the kits are like this, I could be wrong, but it was all pre-wired with these ends. There's an end there, and up under the other headlight there's another end right there, and they just kind of clip together. So they were reversed up here, and I've got to zip tie these up to get them out of the way. So what I did was I just swapped the wiring around. I've heard some of you guys say that, hey, the wire might not reach. Well, on this one, this was all zip tied up, and then once I did all the zip ties and let everything hang free, I had plenty of room to run the wiring. So like I said, I'm going to re-zip tie this up so it's not all hanging. It's all nice and tucked away. I've got to get to the store and get some zip ties from like Harbor Freight. So once I did that, the front was fine. They worked perfect. And I'll show you what I did around the rear. So on the rear, there was a ton of extra wire on like the driver's side. So what I did was I switched the driver's side for the passenger side, and when I did that, the wiring worked fine. The turn signals worked fine, as they should. So the previous owner, when he wired this thing, I noticed that might be what some of you guys are doing. He ran the wiring up and under the motor, and which isn't a good idea because this suspension is going to travel. So, and by running it under the motor, you're losing a couple of feet of wiring. So it's taking up more room and your ability to run the wire to the far end. So let's see if I can go over to the other side. I'll show you. So it wasn't going to reach the way that the owner wired it. So I ran the wiring right here up and over the motor. You want to tuck it up like close to the chassis. I'm going to tie this out of the way with some zip ties. This was definitely a lot shorter. It's a little more tight, but it's still loose enough that it's not, you know, pulling on anything too bad. So I can zip tie this up and it'll be fine. But yeah, you want to you don't want to wire things low to the ground. You want to kind of keep your wiring tight to the chassis and up and out of the way of any suspension parts, and zip tie things, you know, with wire loom like this is, up to the frame as much as you can, so that's higher on the vehicle. And if you do that, there's going to be more room to run the wiring. You'll have longer wires because the length isn't getting taken up by going under like the motor and stuff like that. But once I did that, everything worked perfect. It was like a 10-minute fix. So what I'll do is I'll show you guys right now. I'll turn the headlights on. Put the turn signal on, and I'll walk around to the front. That's working pretty mint. So you want to check everything. So now I'm good. Everything's working as it should on the right. I've got my parking lights. They're gonna hit it to the left. And now everything's working on the left. Now it's working. And if we come over here, check the rear tail light. So turn signal's working on the left as it should. And then make sure your hazards work. Pull it out. That's working great. Everything's working great out back. So this guy probably ran around for a couple of years like that with backwards wiring. It literally took me like a couple minutes to fix it. It was like 10 minutes and I had the thing all fixed and working right. So if your golf cart is doing this and you just bought one of these aftermarket turn signal kits, just see if that's the issue. It very well could be a simple fix like this. It was very easy to do. You know, just take your time. Bring the wiring up, higher on the body like I showed you, how I explained to you, and you should be all set. And if you have any questions or if you have any great tips, leave some in the comment area. We'd like to hear from you guys. Hope this helps some of you guys out of a jam. It's great to get this working correctly and, just make the cart more enjoyable. Thanks for watching, guys.